Solve and graph the inequality. Here we have the m is not alone over here. It still has this minus 3, the negative 3 on it. So I need to solve for m before I can graph the inequality. So because there is a plus sign between the m and the negative 3, that's telling me I'm using either add or subtract. It doesn't tell me which one, just that it's either add or subtract. I have to look at the negative sign over here. Because that's a negative sign, I need to add 3. When I do that, I get m is greater than 8. So to graph that, I take it over to my graphing space. I find 8 on there. M is going to be greater than that. So I need to find a number that's greater than that. I can try 7 is greater than 8. I see that's not true. I try 9 is greater than 8. That is true. So I find 9 on my space, my graph, and I want my line to go out in that direction. Now I have to decide, am I going to use the round parentheses or am I going to use the square brackets? And am I going to use open or closed? Well, whichever one is going to be, whether it's square or round, it's going to be the open one because I want to include the stuff over on that side. I look at my symbol here. I see that there is not an equal sign on there. So therefore it is round. If you are doing this with dots, you would have your 8 here, and you would have an open dot and the line going off from that. The example down here. I have a personal preference that I like positive coefficients for my variables. So when I look at this negative 7x and the negative 8x, I'm thinking in my head, how can I add them, add one to the other, to get a positive coefficient? So in my head, I'm thinking, do I want to take the negative 7x plus 8x? Or do I want to take the negative 8x plus 7x? So doing my addition there, I get a positive 1 there, I get a negative 1 there. So I want to do it this way. I want to add my 8x over. That saves me the bother later of having to switch my sign around. I'm going to do that though, but first let's get this done. So my minus 8x plus 8x cancels out, and I have 3 plus 1x is greater than or equal to 10. 1 times anything does not change it. So 1 times x is x. I don't need to write that 1 down. I can get rid of it. X is not alone. X has the 3 being added onto it. It's a positive 3. I need to subtract it. What I do on one side, I need to do on the other side. So now the 3's cancel out. I have x is greater than or equal to 10 minus 3, 7. I now know what I need to graph. I take that 7, find it over here. X has to be greater than that. So I'm trying this with 6 and I'm trying it with 8. 6 is greater than 7 and 8 is greater than 7. 6 is greater than 7 is wrong. 8 is greater than 7 is right. So I find my 8 on the graph and I draw my line out that direction. Next thing I need to do is figure out, is it going to be parentheses or brackets? As I look at my question here, and I carried it down all the way through, you see the symbol here. You see it has that extra little line under it. That is telling me that it does equal, it is possible for x to be 7. So I want to put a square bracket on it. Now I said that I would do this the other way here. So I'm going to do that now for you. So we're starting out with the 3 minus 7x is greater than or equal to 10 minus 8x. And I want to solve for x. So over there, I moved my 8x first. Over here, I'm going to move the 7x. So I'm going to add 7x. Add 7x. Cancels out over there. I have 3 is greater than or equal to 10 minus 1x. 1 times anything, I don't need to write it, but I'm going to keep it there this time because I have that minus sign in front of the 1. Order of operations backwards, I need to get rid of the 10. It's a positive 10, so I subtract 10. Now I have negative 7 is greater than or equal to negative 1x. Even if I had gotten rid of that 1, I would still have the negative sign there. So I still have at least 1 step to go. I'm going to divide by the negative 1. What I do on one side, I do on the other. So now my negatives cancel out. I have 7. My negative 1s cancel out. I have just x. And I have to look at my symbol in between. So I have my opening is away from the x right now. But because I'm dividing by a negative sign, it flips it around. You say something negative, your sock puppet is going to turn around and look at you and give you a dirty look. Because you're not supposed to be negative. Not about math. So my sign is now eating the x. And I keep my equal to part on there. So now I have 7 is less than x. So I try that again with the 6 versus the 8, and I find out that 8 does work, so it looks the exact same way that this looks. (7x plus 3) is less than 9x minus 3x. As I look at this, one of the things I'm noticing, I have my x showing up 3 different times. I want my x to show up only 1 time. So I'm going to ignore that side of the equal sign. Can I simplify this any? No. I have to do multiplying before I can do addition, but I can't do the multiplying because I don't know what x is. So that's as simple as it's going to get. Ignore this side. Looking over there, can I simplify this any? Yes, I can. 9x minus 3x, they are like terms, so I'm going to combine my like terms. So now I have 7x plus 3 is less than 9 minus 3 is 6. Keep the x with it. Now I want to solve for x, which means the next step is get all of the x's together. Since I have more stuff over on this side, I'm going to first try moving the 7x over. So minus 7x. minus 7x. That cancels out. I have 3 is less than. 6 minus 7 is negative 1. Keep the x with it. X is not alone. It has the negative 1 multiplied by it, so I'm dividing by negative 1. Divide by negative 1. Positive 3 divide negative 1 is negative 3. Shouldn't put this down yet. I gotta think about that. The negative 1's over here cancel out. I have an x. I divided by a negative. So I have my sock puppet, turns around. I have to flip my sign. Now I have my answer. Now I can graph it. So I have my graphing space. I have the negative 3 on it. X is going to be less than the negative 3. Negative 3 is going to be the bigger number. So I'm going to try this with negative 4, and I'm going to try it with negative 2. So I have negative 3 is greater than negative 4, or negative 3 is greater than negative 2. Which one is correct? So I'm going to find my negative 4 on my graph. And I'm going to draw my line in that direction. It does not equal, even up here, it does not equal. Therefore, I'm going to have the round parentheses because it does not equal. Now my graph is done.